Blue Hour is the fourth studio album from the Illinois native pop punk band Real Friends. It doesn't really sound like a whole lot of albums considering this band has been around since 2010, but they do have 7 EPs under their belt. The last one they released, Nothing's Worse Than Too Late, came out in 2023, and it is one of my favorite and most listened to, okay, maybe not most listened to pop punk release, but it's definitely up there. I've listened to this thing so many times. It has insanely catchy hooks, it has really clever lyrics, and the instrumentals will put a smile on your face every single time. The last album that they released was Composure in 2018, and it sounds nothing like modern day Real Friends because it still had founding member Dan Lambton on vocal duty, and he ended up leaving in 2020, and in steps Cody Moraro, who is just the missing piece to this puzzle, because before he joined the band, Dan's lyrics and vocals were okay, but before Cody joined, Real Friends was just kind of there. Even musically, the improvement that they showed on the following EPs after Composure, the first one was titled Torn in Two, was like listening to a completely different band. It got me and a lot of other pop punk fans very interested and invested in what would come next, especially when they announced earlier this year that they would be releasing a new LP, which got us all very excited, especially when they dropped the first single titled When You Were Here, which is just, it was the best thing that they could have done. It explored feelings of loneliness and longing, and the song kind of tiptoes around a little bit before it shows you its true colors in verse 2, where it really comes alive as the drums and the main riff kick in. The verse is very vulnerable, it's very dark and catchy, and this is something you can listen to over and over and over again, even as it was just a single without the entire album in itself, and you get so much emotion out of it with every single listen. And then they gave us the song Waiting Room, which was the next single they released, and it was a little bit more aggressive. It deals with the loss of bassist Kyle Fassel's father, and again, the lyrics do not hold back, describing exactly what he went through and what this guy is still currently going through. The emotions boil over in the chorus, and I can painfully relate to exactly what it is he's going through, especially in the bridge where he's saying the space you left goes on forever. And we finally get a little bit more of a typical pop punk song, about a bad relationship when they gave us the next single, Our Love Was Like a Sad Song. Verse 1 has a really unique guitar part, just kind of hinting at just how good of musicians these guys really are. The chorus is super bouncy and it makes you just want to start thrashing all around your room. Never Has Become Always was the last single that they released. It's pretty much just a 2-minute long jam session, continuing the theme of loss and loneliness, and this to me is one of the best songs that they've ever written, hands down. The chorus gives me chills every time, and the refrain is simply beautiful. And it's only 2 minutes, so it really it's just not enough. You have to keep going back and listening to this. And to me, this is what got me the most excited for the new album. Was I just wanted more. All the other songs they released, I was like, this is good. I listened to it a few times, but this was the one that I just couldn't get enough of, and it made me so much excited for the deep cuts, including the opening track, which really sets the theme for this album, and it also continues the feelings of regret, and it also has a lot of rumination involved as well. I Was a Deer in Your Headlights has a lot of musical space where the drums really shine through and they let the guitar melody kind of fill the gaps in here and there. And I gotta say, I love the imagery that's found in this, where they're comparing a dying relationship to a flower withering on the concrete. And then we have Cold Blood, which is about betrayal. And again, the lyrics are absolutely fantastic. Verse 2 says, it's hard for me to stitch my own back with these shaking hands. And I really enjoy how they've revised these lyrics. I'm sure that he wrote something down first and then he rewrote it 3 or 4 times until he really felt like this is what he wanted to say. And you can feel that throughout all of these songs. Musically, it reminds me of something that would have been written around like the 2010s, specifically in the verse with the prominent drums and the kind of glassy sounding guitar tone. The chorus gives you something you could bob your head to and sing along with, but the bridge really shows the actual frustration and the anger that is felt in this song. And it shows that it goes so much further beyond just being a catchy song. A Place I Don't Think Exists kind of fires back, showing more disdain than heartache. There's a ton of energy in the verses, and the pre-chorus has a really good build-up into the epic chorus. And to me, this song, it sounds like he's hoping that the other person is suffering just as much as he is, and is because he's feeling hopeless and nothing's helping him move on. But it's not like hoping that they're suffering because, they deserve to suffer too. It's more like he's hoping that they're suffering because he feels so alone in his pain, and like nobody really understands what it is he's going through. And it's kind of like hoping that maybe this other person is, because they were, a part of the relationship as well. So yeah, he's just, again, it dives into loneliness and longing, which is very prominent throughout this entire album. If you really read into the lyrics and see the meaning behind them, it's all there. Then we have the song Asymmetry, which has one of my favorite intros, as it builds tension and it goes into a very thick, atmospheric, melancholy, nostalgic kind of thing, thanks to the gentle guitar and the echoey kind of vocals that are hanging out in the background. The breakdown hits super hard, and the last minute of this song is just so full of emotion. And then they follow it up with a super traditional sounding song, Radiant. The riff is super unique, and the vocal melody is perfect as it reaches a peak in the chorus. Verse 2 is a little bit more chill at times, and there's some room for the vocals to pierce through in the mix. The lyrics say, "Someday I might feel radiant," which makes for a very triumphant earworm. I don't know. I had a really hard time getting into this song, which is kind of sad because this is the redeeming song. This is a song that's supposed to give you a lot of hope, and it did, but I don't know. It just wasn't really there, which is another sign that maybe, he's hoping that someday he'll be radiant. You could definitely feel he wasn't really feeling it all that much in this song as well. And yeah, it's kind of sad that it just doesn't hit as hard as the other songs, especially as we're going into the back half of this album, which starts out with "This Year Is Out to Get Me," which is just a series of events that take a huge toll on his mental health. And I can absolutely relate to that, because just when you get over a hurdle or you're in the middle of working through something, it's really discouraging when something else in life just pops up or knocks you down. Verse 2 has great metaphors, and the chorus is dark, but it also has kind of an upbeat feel to it, which makes it feel even darker when you're reading the lyrics. The outro to this song is one of my favorite moments on this record. And then we have the song Red and Orange, which has like a post-hardcore kind of shoegazy sound to it in the intro with the spoken word vocals. The last minute of this song is absolute magic. It's just a breakdown with some vocalization that you'll just want to hear over and over and over again. And then we have the song 10th Floor. And this one kind of haunts me a little bit. It feels like this is where all the pent up emotion and resentment is now erupting in a bunch of crescendos. The verses kind of have an air of defeat that are hidden in his voice. The chorus is basically a cry for help as he's dealing with just intense mental health issues, where the lyrics are poetic, but they don't really shy away from what it is he's going through, where he's basically contemplating giving up, for lack of better words. And it is a very, very, very vulnerable track. And that brings us to the closing track, I Know How This Ends, which continues that same kind of vulnerability. He has a lot of self-awareness, and he's filled with all this pain, and the lyrics just spew all that out. The harsh reality of him not being able to get over his struggles, and just his feelings of loneliness and emptiness, and the awareness of maybe he won't get over that and trying to move on with his life, or maybe he can't. Maybe this is just too much for him. And it is a harsh thing to end on, but at the same time, it's kind of refreshing knowing that he's able to get this all out, and that he's able to vocalize it and put it in lyrics, and he's also able to channel it into something else. This album is a tough listen. Sure, you can throw it on and obliviously listen to it and kind of rock out and enjoy it, but then you're missing out on all these super deep meanings that just stick a dagger in your heart, as a lot of us, most of us, I'd be willing to say, can relate to what these songs are saying in one form or another, as there's just a series of different mental struggles going on here. And not only mental struggles, like it's not like it's just all in, I mean, the bass has lost his father, and he's dealing with that, which is a huge, huge hurdle to overcome. And I really enjoyed how vulnerable this album was. I can go on and on about the musical aspects of it. The guitar riffs are fantastic. The mix is so beautiful. The little guitar melodies hanging out in the background are great. Even the bass lines stick out here and there. The vocals are spot on. But what they really do a good job here is getting the emotion across to you. And to me, that's something that's really hard to do in pop punk, because everything just, it's so fun and generic sounding. And, you know, most of the songs can be played on the radio, so it kind of takes away the deeper meaning of them, at least to some extent. But these guys weren't afraid to really go all in, and you could hear the pain in the vocals and the music. And these guys are enjoying making music together, and you could feel that as well. And you could really tell that, you know, they're all feeling all of this together, and you get that so much. And that's what makes this such a great album to listen to over and over and over again. But at the same time, it's what makes it hard to listen to over and over and over again. And sure, there's more digestible kind of stuff through here. There's some really fun hooks. There's some bouncy rhythms. And they threw in some fun, more chilled songwriting aspects to it. But overall, this is a very deep album that if you listen to it, you're missing out a lot if you don't actually dive into it and figure out what is going on here, because there's such a deep meaning. I gotta give Blue Hour by Real Friends a 9 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. Leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of Blue Hour. I have a feeling most people will enjoy this album, especially fans, but I don't know if like every pop punk person is going to really get into this. So leave a comment below letting me know what you thought. Let me know what you'd rate it, what your favorite song is. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. That helps out so much with YouTube's algorithm. It'll keep my videos popping up in your recommended section. And of course, if you want to support me further than that, feel free to subscribe and ring the bell icon. That way you don't miss out on any of my future reviews. And I just thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to listen to me sit here and talk about music. I hope you have a good rest of your day or night, whenever you have me watching this, and I will talk to you guys next time.